What is up, Waffle Gang? I do hope you are well. My name is Mark, and today we're checking out some more r/Am I the Butthole? If you'd like to skip the initial waffle, timestamps are in the description and along the timeline below, but if you are new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too, as it really does help out our channel. Now, if you'd like to support the channel further, you can by clicking that join button down below for YouTube, or clicking the link in the description for Patreon and joining up there. I have started to pull my finger out a little bit, and we are now doing Member Monday videos as well as the normal videos as well. So, and yesterday we did have a new member on YouTube. We had Roger Toledo. I hope I got your name right. Thank you so much for your support, and for everyone for taking your time out of your days to be here. Amazing. Thank you so much. And let's crack on with today's stories. Much love, guys. Now, our first story was a request yesterday on Twitter from Alex Smith saying, "So Mark, do you take story requests? Because I would love to hear what you say about this one." And it is this story. And I've been waiting for my moment to say this for so long. So long. So here it goes. Buckle up, guys. This is a doozy. The story comes from Orange Tradition called "Am I the Arsehole for refusing to participate in my boyfriend's family bizarre Orange Tradition?" My boyfriend and I have been together a while now, but I hadn't met his family until a week ago when they invited us to stay at their house. I was very excited to meet his parents for the first time, and they were super sweet when I got there. Both of them are lovely people and we got along well. They gave us free rein to do whatever, but the one thing they insisted on was that we join them for their tradition of eating oranges as a family on Saturday mornings. They grow their own oranges and have been doing this since my boyfriend was a kid, so he is especially thrilled to share the tradition with me as a rite of passage. So the morning came and his mum brought in some fresh oranges from the garden. We sat at the table and I was getting ready to peel my orange when I saw my boyfriend's mum bite into her orange like it was an apple, with the peel still on. I was so stunned when I saw my boyfriend and his dad do the same with their oranges, as if it was totally normal. I guess they noticed my shock because they asked me why I wasn't eating. So I started to peel my orange, but then his mum told me to stop. That I was eating it wrong and I had to bite into it with the skin to get the full experience. I politely told her that I like to peel my oranges and I'm sure they taste just as great either way, but she kept insisting that I had to bite into my orange for tradition. After saying multiple times that I'd rather peel it and the family, including boyfriend, pushing back, I put the orange back on the table and said, though I appreciate the gesture, I personally feel uncomfortable eating oranges that way and I'd rather not participate. Things were tense after that and we left the next day. When we got home, my boyfriend chewed me out for being rude and embarrassing him and his family. He said I should have just eaten the orange the right way, since his parents were gracious to let me stay with them. I can see his point and I apologise for causing any hurt. I really do like his family and think they are great people, but stand by my decision to opt out of the orange tradition. He feels I could have compromised and I felt like I should be able to eat things how I want. It's a silly squabble in the grand scheme of things, but my boyfriend and I are really at odds about who's wrong and would love an outside opinion. And then OP comes back to answer some questions by saying, edit, some people have been asking what kind of oranges, whether they're actually oranges. All I can say is I was told they were oranges and they look like typical oranges with thick skin. And then provides a photo for us to see. So let's take a look at this to see what it is. I mean, they look like oranges to me. And then the next edit says, lots of frequently asked questions, so I'll answer them here. No, they don't just bite into it once to make it easier to peel. They don't peel the oranges at all. They eat the whole thing, fruit, skin and pith, like one would eat an apple. Yes, it's messy. Yes, the skin is thick. The tradition involves eating the entire orange like that, not just a bite. I do recognise that I could have surrendered a bite to keep the peace, however. This is the first time I've seen my boyfriend eat an orange. He never ate them with me, as he would say nothing compares to his parents' oranges. He has seen me, our friends and people in TV shows and movies eat peeled oranges. I assume the same goes for his parents. My boyfriend has never commented before on the common peeling technique. His parents do this every Saturday. I'm not sure how they eat their oranges on other days, but I imagine it's the same. The whole family is expected to participate every Saturday when at their parents' house, but I don't have to do it in my own home. The reason I didn't try one bite is mostly because I was caught off guard. Since all my boyfriend told me was that was going to eat oranges. He didn't let me know about the method in advance, so I panicked. That and the insistence that I eat the entire fruit the way they wanted me to turned me off trying it. I might be open to try it in the future. I think that covers it. Thanks for the comments. I'll definitely share with my boyfriend. Thank you, Alex, for this one. I don't know where to bloody start with this. Now, I did some Googling on this one because I thought, am I missing something here? Is there actually a tradition out there that does it? And all I can find is like health articles about saying, you know, orange peel does contain some pro-vitamin A, folate, riboflavin, vitamin B6 and calcium. And that's all I can find. So, you know, and people saying it is safe to eat orange peel, which is okay. But... and this is going to sound bizarre, but all I've got, I get vivid images when this sort of shit goes in my head. My head goes wild. And all I can picture is some sort of cult thing going on as them bringing a girlfriend out into the garden and they're all in orange robes. And they bring her the orange like in cupped hands. Oh, eat the orange. This is probably not the answer you was looking for, Alex, was it? But that's all I can see in my head right now, and I just don't understand. And you're definitely not the arsehole in this situation to me. If someone asked me to go and eat an orange, peel on and all, I would tell them no as well. As far as I'm aware, oranges that I've had in the past, and any that I've tried before, and I have bitten into an orange with peel before, when I was younger, God knows why. And it is bitter and horrible, so there's no way I would eat a whole one like that. Mate, that's their tradition, that's on them. But you do not have to be involved in this tradition. The best part of the orange to me is the inside, not the peel. But Alchemist says, I like how we're all just calmly answering this like it isn't some crazy cartoon bullshit. Nobody eats orange peels at all. I mean, fuck. They peel into individual sections. They are damn near bite size. I literally cannot imagine why you would do this in the first place. Have you considered the possibility that they are just fucking with you? I don't know if I would be mad or impressed by the commitment. But for real, not the arsehole. No one gets to tell you how to eat things. That's Looney Tunes. And your response was really respectful. Stand up for yourself. And OP replies, to be honest, I kind of thought they were fucking with me at first and was really surprised when they kept insisting. They seemed pretty serious. I'm fascinated with their dedication to the tradition and wouldn't have minded hearing more about it if they hadn't tried to rope me in. I get people who slice the orange first and then eat the peel, but seeing it eaten like an apple was surreal, not gonna lie. And Sunny Apartment says, not the arsehole, be glad you didn't stick around for the crab bake. And Lady K-Dub says, not the arsehole, but when your boyfriend talked about this tradition, did he ever mention how they eat the orange differently than most of the world? Did he ever eat an orange outside of this tradition? I'm trying to figure why he didn't prep you more. And then RV Fulltime says, not the arsehole, orange oil from the peel stings, and the peel tastes fairly fibrous and bitter. Don't ingest anything that makes you feel uncomfortable. They seem like very domineering people, including your boyfriend. I wonder what other rituals they will try to put you through. And Prawn Vindaloo says, sounds like the movie Ready or Not. First it's just a silly family tradition, and the next thing you know, she's hiding in the mansion, praying for dawn while they hunt her with crossbows. For fuck's sake. Anyway, I turn this one to you guys. What do you guys think of this situation and how would you deal with it? Let me know in the comments below. And our next story comes from Dinos5800. Am I the arsehole for being upset enough at my wife for how she reacted to a house fire with our baby in the house that I left for a night with our baby? My wife and I have an 8-month-old. Last week I was coming home from work and just as I was coming up the driveway she came running down the driveway barefoot. She saw me and yelled me to call 911. There was a fire in the kitchen. I asked where our daughter was because she wasn't with her and she said she was inside and to call 911 fast. We live somewhere rural and the response times are slow. I immediately was scared the house would go up with our daughter inside before the fire department came. I tried to run inside and she tried to stop me, yelling again and again that I couldn't go in. There was a fire. I went in. The way the house is laid out, you have to go through the kitchen to get to the hallway with the nursery. There was a grease fire on the stove in a pan and the wall above the stove and the curtains nearby was catching. I put out the pan by putting the lid on it and then put out the wall and curtains with a fire extinguisher. Then I immediately went to the nursery and got our daughter. Going back outside, my wife was gone. I soon found out she went down the road looking for a neighbour whose phone she could use. But at the time and for a while I was really upset that our reaction to a fire had been to run out without our baby and even tried to stop me from going inside before the fire department had come. and that she was put in danger by not trying to put out the fire with a lid or baking tray over the grease fire, at first when it was smaller, or trying to use the fire extinguisher. If I hadn't come home when I did, I don't want to think about what would have happened. The fire department showed up, but the fire was already out, and my wife returned too, driven by a neighbour. I was angry with her for the reasons I said, and she just totally clammed up. I went to stay with my brother and sister-in-law that night, taking our daughter, and my wife was very angry with me over it, saying the next day, how dare I leave her alone after that? She needed someone to drive her to the urgent care after injuring her feet running barefoot. That upset me even more. That was what she was worried about, not what had almost happened when she ran out of the house on fire without our baby. I've been staying at my brother's for about a week now. I don't know what to do, or if I was in the wrong for being so angry. Am I the arsehole for how I reacted to my wife starting an accidental kitchen fire, then running away leaving our baby in the house? Now I think this is going to be one of those rare ones where no one is the actual arsehole here, and I may be wrong in saying that, so always happy to be educated. You know that, guys. You know that by now, come on. But my thought is, when things like this happen, fire, children getting injured, people panic. Adrenaline takes over and they go into fight or flight mode, and I think this is what just happened in that situation. She went into complete panic mode, wasn't thinking clearly, and just ran out the house. So I don't think really anyone is the arsehole in this situation. Sure, it was a really scary situation and there are ways to counter this. Maybe have some fire training or something like that may help you. First aid training, there's a whole load of training you can go to protect your child in different ways. But it does remind me of a story that I had when I was a bit younger. And I feel like I have to preface this now because someone the other day said that I relate to too many stories and I can relate to everything. I pretty much can in most ways, But I'm not looking for sympathy or anything like that. It's just the way it is, okay? If you don't want to listen to it, it's absolutely fine. I'm not going to be offended. And there are timestamps for that purpose. But when I was younger, and it sort of scarred me, early teen sort of years, I remember hearing, and a family member lived just down the road, and there was a phone call between them and there was something going on. So I ran down there, went into their house immediately, because we just walked into each other's houses, that's what we did. The family member's child had crawling in between the banisters as they were both going upstairs. They sort of dived underneath the banisters and then went from the top of the stairs to the floor, which was a tile floor, and completely knocked themselves out. And I remember, as soon as I opened the door, I remember seeing the family member there with the child in their arms, and they was flopped over their arms. So they wasn't in a recovery position or anything like that. And they was literally just panicking, screaming, and just sort of holding and saying, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up kind of thing. And that scarred me, that did. So much so that as soon as I could, I was getting first aid classes because of that. So I think these classes are very, very beneficial if you can get to them and if you can afford them, of course. And Queen Oreo says, when my daughter was about 18 months old, she choked on a nickel. My husband yelled for me to come help, stood there with wild eyes in white hot panic, and asked me 100 times in 20 seconds if he should call 911. While I was doing back blows, I finally said yes, call, and he grabbed his phone. Called 911 and ran out the house, leaving me alone with a choking child. He said his plan was to be out there so the paramedics could find our house, which is fair, it's hard to find, but the reality was he just panicked. He handles crisis professionally, but in the moment, with his own child, he just freaked the F out. I don't feel like I can judge her or you. No one's an arsehole here, but your wife should definitely learn some basic first aid / home safety. Does your town do a survive alive house? Our town does, and I'm sure they would allow a grown-up who needed some general knowledge and needed to gain a level of confidence in handling small emergencies. A first aid class is probably a good idea too. And Damn Shalom says, no one's an arsehole here, your wife sucks in an emergency, that much is absolutely clear, and that needs to be dealt with for sure. That said, she panicked. I don't think it's fair to hold the decision she made against her in that state, especially considering she followed the textbook rules that are drilled into children from a young age. Get out, call 911, don't go back in. Remember how many times you heard that back in elementary school from teachers, on field trips to firehouses, when the fire department came to your school to do a demonstration? Unfortunately, they don't send out updates for that once we reach adulthood. That said, I completely understand your anger, feelings of betrayal and lost trust in your wife. This is something you both should seek counselling about. And Olin Dirt says, no one's an arsehole here, go home, make up, get some therapy and try to move on. Dude, she panicked. She was not in her right mind. Somehow you were able to keep it together, but your wife was not. Make it right, go home. I'm not discounting your feelings, but she was not in control of her emotions at all. People do weird shit, hopped up on adrenaline and fear. And Disc says, no one's an arsehole here. Panic causes people to act oddly. However, I am concerned about your wife's mental state. I strongly suggest counselling, couples at minimum and ideally individual for her as well. Not instinctively returning for the baby is concerning. Possible sign of PPD or similar issue. Now, I turn this one to you guys. What do you guys think of this situation? Do you think she just panicked, or do you think, no, she should have definitely went back in? Let me know in the comments below. And our next story comes from Mr. Rockwood. Am I the arsehole for screaming at my best friend's boyfriend? Happened today, still catching flack. My partner and I have this friend, Lisa. We met at the ballroom and she's good people. She met this guy, we'll call him Ted, last year, a few months before the pandemic, and hit it off. I remember being really happy for her because she was pretty lonely and had been looking to date for a while. She seemed really happy with him and he seemed pretty nice, or so I thought. Small bit of context, they decided to get 2 puppies. I forget the other breed, but the one about this story is a mini Aussie / English mix named Belle. Anyway, I get a phone call today around 4ish from her and she's in tears. She starts telling me about how Ted is taking Belle to the pound. She goes on about how they're having a fight about the puppies and how active they are and how stressful it is to take care of them. Apparently, it's causing him too much anxiety, so he's going to get rid of his puppy. Lisa isn't having any of it and offers to buy her from him. He says no and they get into a huge fight. Lisa starts begging me to take her while they figure this out. My butt is already in the car and en route. I arrive and she's outside with the puppy, her face red from crying, sitting on the curb. She gives me a hug and starts crying again, all the while holding the clearly excited to be outside Belle. Ted comes walking outside, sees us and goes, yeah, please take her, I'm done, she's all yours. Now, here's where I may be the arsehole. Up until this point I was mad, disgusted and pretty salty someone would do this to a puppy. Up until this point I was committed to just taking Belle, and if it turned out she'd be part of the family, then I'd be at PetSmart looking for doggy beds. The moment his skinny Seattle looking man-child said that, I blew an internal mental gasket. I parted from Lisa, walked over to Ted and just started yelling. I'm an inch from his face, explaining like a Navy RDC how much of a piece of shit he is for doing this to a puppy. This puppy fell in love with you and isn't going to know what happened or why when I take her. She isn't some toy to use and then discard when she gets hard to handle. Blah 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 about commitment, about being an adult, blah something about maturity. Yeah, you guys can fill in the rest. Ted goes from annoyed about owning a puppy to I'm being yelled at by my dad looking at the ground. I'm standing over him looking like a Viking at 6'4" tall and weighing at 230 pounds. I'll admit, he was probably really scared. Anyway, I yelled until my Navy wit ran out of gas, turned around to take Belle home and told Lisa to call me. Ted and Lisa are now fighting about that she called me and I went over there and did what I did. Lisa says I could have not done the yelling and my partner agrees with her, but I don't know. Am I the arsehole? Edit, whelp. Ted is now single. Edit 1, just woke up and need to catch up. Wait 1. Edit 2, Bella's 5 months old now I believe. I still need to take her to the vet. Edit 3, definitely not bragging about my height / weight, just telling an unbiased story of what happened. I'm aware I'm probably scarier, though my lady certainly isn't. Edit 4, Belle as of this morning in the office. Doggo tax of course, we love it here. Lovely doggo. Edit 5, they live together, so him selling Belle to Lisa didn't solve his problem. She'd still be around causing him anxiety. Edit 6, current plan is that I'm going to hold on to Belle until she can get her into a new place, probably by the end of the month. Lisa still has every intention of taking her though. In many of these dog situations, I sort of look at it from an outside perspective and sort of say, you know, it's always better if you're not going to look after the dog properly and give it what it needs, then yes, give it to a better home if possible, you know. And I may be harsh for saying it, but I can't excuse people when they don't look at their situation and don't think about if they can actually handle the dog beforehand. Sure, sometimes there is situations where this does come up, but this situation just sounds like they got the dogs and they couldn't handle them in the first place, and that's what it comes across to me. So absolutely, that person sucks in this situation. And again, I'm probably going to get hate for this, but I also can't excuse, you know, just getting in someone's face and intimidating them after they've accepted that they made a wrong move as well. The situation was already pretty much over, so you went over there, got in their face, talked shit to them for when a situation was pretty much over. It just doesn't make much sense to me. Yes, some people might say that he deserved this sort of talking down to and deserves what he gets, right? But I just don't think it's very normal behavior to get in someone's face and intimidate them when a situation's already over, especially when you already mentioned your size and all that kind of stuff. It just almost like bullying behavior, but I don't know. As I said, I might be totally wrong there. And I will reiterate that I absolutely love dogs and I don't excuse treating them in any negative way whatsoever. Absolutely not. But I think if they're not going to look after this dog correctly and it finds a better home, then that's a positive out of a negative in my opinion. But Bogus says, you're the arsehole, but in the best way. I dream of metaphorically going John Wick on some douche abusing a puppy. You, sir, are my hero. You kind of overstep, but some people deserve to be overstepped on. And Engineering Own says, everyone sucks here except Lisa and the dogs. He sucks for not wanting to keep the puppy anymore, but it's much better for him to realise he's not fit to own a puppy and wanting to give it up, because him keeping it would not have been good for the dog, but he was being a dick by not letting Lisa take it, since she offered. You suck for using your size to intimidate people and screaming unnecessarily in their faces. You could have just took the puppy and left. And Yeast Lisi says, not the arsehole, pets are not disposable items you can get rid of because you're annoyed. Sure, you probably could have gotten your point across without raising your voice, but the point stands. When you get a pet, you add to your family. And Budget Lemon says, not the arsehole, pets are not toys, pets are not toys, pets are not toys. Edit after looking at the picture of the doggo, how did he have the heart to give up such a beautiful dog? And Daffodils and Rain says, I'm going with not the arsehole because you snap for a good reason and because maybe knock some sense into his head with the force of your emotion. He seems like an awful guy and I'm glad he won't have a puppy anymore. He doesn't deserve either of them. Hope she breaks up with him. Notice he waits till you leave to take it out on her. Now, I turn this one to you guys. What do you guys think of this situation? Do you think he is the arsehole for shouting, or a necessary arsehole in this case? Do you think he's not the arsehole in the situation at all and the guy totally deserved it? Or do you think it's an everyone sucks here? Let me know in the comments below. Now, once again, guys, thank you for being here today. I hope you did enjoy today's stories. And if you did, you know what to do. Hit that like, that subscribe, and maybe, just maybe, that cheeky notification bell too. And just a huge thank you once again. And if you do want to support the channel, you can do by clicking that join button down below or clicking the link in the description and heading on over to Patreon. As I said, now we are doing Member Mondays every Monday. We're going to be starting with r/RBI this Monday. Don't forget to get involved. Be great to see you there. And that is in addition to the normal stories as well. So don't worry, no one is missing out. And I will see you, if you enjoyed the content, of course, in the next one. You spicy so-and-sos. Have a bloody great day. Much love.